俺のスタンドセックスピストルズは暗殺向きだ。こういうのには向いてるからな。俺も行くぜ。
I think all of the members of Passione have defining traits about them that set them apart from the standard gangsters and gang leaders, but Mista is an interesting case. I believe that Mista's case is that he embodies what we've known gangsters for, and he amplifies it to a great degree. One of the huge things that represents gangsters are their independence and how they stand against the rest of the world. Most will share connections on strife they faced in their life, and it contributes to the unity of the gang, but they will not miss a chance to define themselves when given it. Of course, the group is going to follow behind Bruno, but when there's shaky decision making at hand, everyone is free to offer up any ideas. Giorno does so, and Mista follows him, being the only one going with him. The decision made by Giorno is one of pressure and getting straight into the action, and that decision making is something that Mista can resonate with. But while their priorities stand in front of them, Mista goes with his best interest and instead feeds his stand instead of immediately focusing on the enemy to come. Mista knows himself and his stand the best, and knows that if he was to flake out on feeding time, then most likely would end up with the mission failing since his stand isn't fed. He also makes it a point to do the best thing possible in the situation, even though it involves him going solo for a bit when group work is a lot more favored. This independence makes a lot of sense. Being one on his own isn't anything new to Mista, and he can take care of himself pretty well. While simple, he isn't stupid. Another thing that gangsters do represent is humanity, and I understand people will be confused, but when you notice people like Bruno for their past and how they act now, you know that they're usually for the people. I could get into the whole, they're the first line of defense against the government, or when they start attacking us, and when the government starts slacking and all that, but this isn't V for Vendetta or something, and everyone already knows that we live in a society, so that pretty much does that. Mista shows his humanity to his stand, his group, and in his past, but I won't be getting into that because of spoilers. There's a huge amount of care that he gives in all of those. Then there's all the fear that we see Mista exude. Mostly, it's his tetraphobia, which is connected to his superstitious beliefs. He's also one to be extremely overwhelmed when it comes to pressure, and while he's smart enough to find workarounds, his character is one to attempt going 110% more than anything. Though my favorite trait has to be Mista and his wrath against others, Zucchero being the perfect example here. His interrogation against him is some of the most brutal ways of interrogation I've seen, aside from stuff like Batman when he's entirely pissed off, and even then, they're out here burning his eye like it's an anthill. The actions themselves are major, but my biggest takeaway from this is the tone of Mista's voice. This sense of confidence, position, and just all around I'm above you attitude is amazing, and I love when characters do this. And he does this before and after the torture dance, just completely playing around with Zucchero's life. It's amazing.
追ってくる仲間の名前とスタンド能力を答えねえっつうんならよ、もう片方の目の心配もしていた方がいいな、ズッケーロさんよ。
Ah, you see that? That's that good shit, yeah. But you know how cruel you have to be doing this type of stuff and then proceed to dance along while doing this? This is, it's that good shit. That's some of the most bizarre stuff I've ever heard of, and I love it to death. That's some great gangster type energy. But wrapping this all together, Mista has to be the most gangster out of the group. I mean, obviously you have characters like Bruno being the best example of an idealistic gangster leader, but then there's just so many types of gangsters in general portrayed in media, and I could for sure line up the other members in a later video, but for now this is going to be it. Mista, our gangster with gangster energy conclusion type deal. Thank you all so much. I don't know why I'm ridiculously hyped for this episode. It's really good. I thought the dance would be what pushed me off the edge basically, but just the way Mista's talking, that's definitely what got to me. It's that this is a good episode. But I don't know, I might do a review, but I'm missing out on those. But you know, these videos are kind of substitutes for that, so you don't have to worry about seeing reviews and all that type of stuff. But yes, I will try to make longer videos for the future. because I know that people do like the short content, but they're just like, huh, I really do want to see you talk about something per a reasonable long amount of time, like the Pulpo video. So I'll try, but yeah. And I also got my energy back, so hopefully you guys are happy for that. I'll see you all in the next one, though. So until then, peace out and Godspeed.